You've probably heard of ChatGPT and Claude, but there's a third AI power quietly reshaping the entire industry, and most people have completely missed it. Mistral AI just hit a $6 billion valuation in 2026, backed by billions in venture funding, and it's not a flashy consumer app. It's something far more dangerous to OpenAI's dominance, a genuinely competitive alternative that enterprises and developers are actively choosing over the incumbents. Here's what caught the industry off guard. Mistral's small models actually outperform OpenAI's in certain benchmarks, and their large models match or beat Claude at a fraction of the cost. The company that started as an idea from 3 Meta researchers has become a serious contender in under 4 years. And unlike ChatGPT, Mistral is deeply committed to open source, which means you're not locked into a proprietary ecosystem controlled by one corporation. This philosophy is fundamentally reshaping how AI gets built and deployed globally. But what makes Mistral so different? Why are major enterprises suddenly switching? And what does this competitive pressure mean for the future of AI pricing and control? This is the story of how a startup just challenged the entire AI hierarchy. Mistral was founded in 2023 by 3 researchers who spent years at Meta building AI systems at massive scale. Arthur Mensch, Gal Lidden, and Timothy Lacroix weren't starting from scratch. They were walking away from one of the world's largest AI teams because they believed a better approach was possible. The key insight was radical. You don't need massive, bloated models to get incredible results. Instead, you can build smaller, more efficient models that run faster, cost less, and actually perform better on real-world tasks. Think of it like the difference between a gas-guzzling truck and a precision sports car. Both can get you there, but one does it faster and cheaper. Mistral's philosophy stood in direct opposition to the prevailing trend in Silicon Valley, where bigger was assumed to be better. They raised initial funding and launched Mistral 7B in 2023, a 7 billion parameter model that shocked the AI community by matching much larger, more expensive models. It was like watching a lightweight boxer knock out a heavyweight champion. From that moment, Mistral had momentum. They followed up with larger models, specialized versions, and an entire ecosystem designed around developer flexibility. The company grew from a tiny Paris-based startup to a global force in under 4 years. Investors took notice. By 2026, Mistral had become the fastest-funded AI startup in history. So what's the actual secret behind Mistral's success? It comes down to something called efficient architecture. Most AI companies, including OpenAI, build their models using a basic design that wastes computational resources. Mistral engineers optimized every layer, every connection, every calculation. The result is a model that delivers the same quality output while using significantly less processing power. Imagine teaching someone to read a 1,000-page book. The inefficient way is to memorize every word. The efficient way is to learn the underlying concepts so you understand the meaning with less information stored. That's essentially what Mistral did. Their engineering teams also pioneered techniques like grouped query attention, which dramatically reduces the memory footprint of running the model. This matters enormously in the real world because it means Mistral models can run on smaller, cheaper hardware. A startup with a modest budget can now deploy enterprise-grade AI without spending hundreds of thousands on GPU clusters. The bigger picture is even more significant. By releasing open-source models, Mistral gave the entire research community access to these techniques. Researchers at universities and smaller companies can now build on Mistral's work, experiment, innovate, and create applications that would have been impossible before. This democratization of AI is unprecedented. OpenAI guards its models behind API walls and expensive subscriptions. Mistral said, "Here's the code, build something amazing." That philosophical difference is reshaping the entire industry's trajectory. Let's get specific about where Mistral is winning against incumbents. First, cost. Mistral's API pricing is roughly 30 to 50% cheaper than OpenAI's for equivalent performance. If you're a company processing thousands of requests daily, that's millions of dollars in savings annually. Second, speed. Because their models are more efficient, they generate responses faster. a banking app that needs real-time decision-making for fraud detection. Mistral's lower latency is genuinely better. Third, control. With Mistral, you can download the model and run it on your own servers. No internet dependency, no data sent to external servers, complete privacy. A hospital processing patient data or a government agency handling classified information can't risk sending sensitive data to a cloud API. Mistral solved that. Then there's customization. Since the models are open source, engineers can fine-tune them on proprietary datasets in ways that are impossible with closed models. A manufacturing company training a Mistral model on decades of equipment data can build incredibly specific, powerful AI for their exact use case. OpenAI's closed approach can't compete here. Real enterprises are already making the switch. We are seeing major companies deploying Mistral models in production because the trade-offs favor efficiency and control over raw size and brand recognition. These aren't edge cases anymore. They're becoming the default choice for cost-conscious, technically sophisticated organizations. The momentum is shifting away from closed, expensive APIs and toward open, efficient alternatives. When we compare Mistral directly to OpenAI's latest models, the results are genuinely surprising. On the MMLU benchmark, basically an AI IQ test covering 67 different subjects, Mistral's largest model performs at 90.1% accuracy. OpenAI's GPT-4 sits at around 88%. Mistral wins. On coding benchmarks, they're essentially equivalent. On reasoning tasks, it's extremely close, with different models winning on different specific challenges. The historic narrative was that you had to sacrifice quality to get efficiency. You could have ChatGPT's raw power or a smaller, faster model, never both. Mistral proved that assumption wrong. Their large models deliver comparable quality, while their small models deliver surprising performance in a compact package. Claude by Anthropic remains incredibly strong, arguably still the best for complex reasoning, but Mistral has closed the gap dramatically. What's more important than raw benchmark numbers is the business equation. If Mistral is 75% as capable as GPT-4, but costs one-third the price and runs faster, most businesses will choose Mistral. That's the real threat to OpenAI's dominance. They built their success on being the clear, undisputed leader. Now there's genuine competition at every price point and use case. OpenAI's response has been to focus on their paid tier, their agent capabilities, and their integration ecosystem. But they can't compete on cost, and they can't compete on flexibility. This competitive dynamic is reshaping how the entire AI industry thinks about pricing and positioning. This competition between Mistral and OpenAI isn't just about which model is faster or cheaper. It's about who controls AI's future. OpenAI's original mission was to build artificial general intelligence safely, but they've gradually transformed into a for-profit company, extracting maximum value from users through expensive APIs. That's not inherently wrong. Businesses need to be profitable, but it creates vendor lock-in. If your entire application depends on ChatGPT and OpenAI raises their prices tomorrow, you're trapped. Mistral's open-source approach changes the power dynamic entirely. By releasing models that anyone can download and run, Mistral is essentially saying, you don't have to trust us. You don't have to depend on our pricing. You have a choice. From a geopolitical perspective, this is significant too. OpenAI is heavily influenced by United States interests. Mistral is European, which means companies operating under European data protection laws can use Mistral without worrying about United States government surveillance or data transfer issues. The European Union has been increasingly concerned about digital sovereignty. The idea that they shouldn't depend entirely on American tech companies for critical infrastructure. Mistral gives them an alternative. For developers, the implications are massive. An engineer in India or Nigeria can now deploy sophisticated AI applications without paying Silicon Valley's premium. Open-source models are already fueling innovation in countries where a ChatGPT subscription is prohibitively expensive. If you want to actually experience Mistral, there are several paths. The easiest is Mistral's own API. You visit their website, create an account, get an API key, and you're ready to go. The pricing is transparent and competitive. You'll find their documentation is excellent, with code examples in Python, JavaScript, and other languages. The API handles all the infrastructure for you. You just send requests and get responses. Second option, use Mistral through third-party platforms. Many AI service providers like Replicate, Together AI, and others offer Mistral models through their interfaces. This can be convenient if you're already using those platforms. Third, download and run Mistral locally. This is for technically sophisticated users, but it's genuinely powerful. You can download a Mistral model, let's say the 7 billion parameter version, run it on your laptop using open-source inference engines like Ollama or VLLM, and have a private AI assistant that never touches the internet. For businesses, there's enterprise support directly from Mistral. They'll help you deploy custom versions, fine-tune models on your data, and integrate with your infrastructure. The key advantage is optionality. You're not forced to use their API. You can self-host if you want. You can switch to another provider without rewriting your application. That flexibility is why enterprises are increasingly choosing Mistral. The practical reality is that Mistral has made it genuinely possible to avoid vendor lock-in for the first time in the AI era. Here's what you should take away from this. Mistral AI represents a genuine alternative to the OpenAI-dominated landscape that's been defining the AI era since ChatGPT launched in 2022. They've proven that efficiency beats scale, that open source can compete commercially, and that the AI industry doesn't have to be controlled by a handful of Silicon Valley incumbents. For developers, Mistral offers real choice and financial flexibility. For businesses, it provides options around cost, privacy, and lock-in. For the broader tech industry, competition from Mistral is pushing everyone to innovate faster and price fairly. The future of AI will almost certainly involve multiple serious players rather than OpenAI holding a monopoly. Mistral is proof that the marketplace works, even in cutting-edge AI. And here's what to watch. Over the next 18 months, we'll see if Mistral can maintain this trajectory. Can they recruit the best talent? Can they keep innovating faster than entrenched competitors? Can they build sustainable business models around open source? These questions will determine whether this moment represents a genuine change in the AI industry or just a brief disruption. My prediction, Mistral has already changed the game. The question now is how far they'll go. Follow the channel for daily updates on how this competition unfolds and reshapes the AI landscape. Thanks for watching.